Okay, the Ottoman are playing the Papal Bull, and we'll get to that in a moment. They got a couple actions off of it, but it got me to look at the Holy League card, thinking France was going to trigger Venice and throw lots of points into it. Well, as far as I can see, they can't. The way this card works is it gains 4 influence divided between these powers and then resolve the diplomatic status of any 2. Well, there's only 2 in this game because the Holy Roman Empire is not in it. So Papacy and Venice, they both had to be resolved. And I quickly did that to catch up. And the Ottomans, who had the initial bonus, ended up winning Venice, which means it remains deactive. It doesn't... Now, as far as I can tell, you can't trigger another event in any of these, which means the Papal Bull is not going to cause another event that could bring the papacy into play. That's already been decided this turn. So now the papal player, who's the French, get a few options. They can excommunicate Elizabeth. They can take conversion attempts in France and or the Netherlands, and I think that's what they're going to do. Patronize an artist or scientist, or what I was planning on doing, which was retrieving the Holy League and converting Venice, getting that last key that France needs. Now that would have put everybody into alert mode, and they would have had to try to take a key away from France this activation round. That didn't happen though, because I think Venice had to be selected before, and now there's nothing for that. So I'm going to get 7 conversion attempts against the Protestant areas to try to convert them over. And for the Spaniards, they played their home card with its big 5 points. And boy, this thing's getting cranky. With its big 5 points. And basically marched up and laid siege here to Lyon, I think. The English then went and established a colony in Rio de Janeiro, which I think is probably a dangerous place to build one. Probably the Portuguese have some card where they can bone you if that's the case. And now they're sailing into the Spanish Main. Intention, to cause some problems there. But here's the thing. I guess they would have been fine going to the Atlantic coast first. Oh well. As opposed to going from the Guinea coast down to the South Atlantic. Whatever, they chose to do it this way, and I wanted to set up the colony. Then the French launched an attack. Yeah, let's see where their card is. Damn, I don't know where their card went. They spent something to move there. And not just a 2-pointer, I don't think. I've got it kicking around somewhere and I don't see it. It's not this one. This is what they played in combat. Shit. I don't know what they played, and I'm going to have to try to go and reconstruct it. But anyway, we're in the middle of a battle. I was going to roll the dice for the battle to show you how it works. It works the same as in Here I Stand, though, and I've got to find that card or figure out what they played, because I can't think otherwise. Well, this is really troubling. I can't find the card. I count their cards, and they seem to have the right amount as though they had played one. I don't know where it went. Anyway, here's the deal. They've got 2, 4, 5. I actually even know what the card is. It's something that gives them mercenaries. No, that's this Riders. Maybe they needed to play a 5-point card. I don't know. I really don't know. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they had to. It had to be a 5-point card. I'm gonna say they didn't play it. They'll throw the Eloquent Ambassador because they don't know what else they're doing. They need to spend a lot of points to try to gain something in this turn, and it wasn't looking like they were going to get anything up there. So now they're going to have 7 dice. 5 for their troops. I'm sorry. I should have 8. 2, 4. 5 for their troops. 1 for Montmorency. Brings them to 6, 7, and I gotta grab another die from over here. I've spilled a few out for this. Meanwhile, our good friends, the Spaniards, have 3, 6, 7 dice. They have 6 troops and the Duke of Alva. And now they'll be rolling. See how many 5s and 6s each get. I'll just do this like this. Alright. Well, it looks like we've got to look at the combat table. It's a field battle. Winner based on number of hits scored. Defender wins ties. 1 unit eliminated for each hit. And the leader captured if his side is eliminated. So we got 2 hits that the French conducted and 1 that the Spaniards conducted. And these can be taken off anything. It doesn't matter. Might as well take a mercenary from the French. And the 2 Spanish hits also should be mercenaries. Always a good idea to get rid of the mercenaries. Now we've got to have a retreat. And damned if I remember what the restrictions are. I believe they've got to retreat into an allied space. So they fall back here. The siege has been relieved. Unlike some games, yeah, these are really crappy in this one. The plastic things are too wide. Unlike most of the games, they aren't holding up as well as some of the other ones. I guess maybe people complained that, you know, they force the counters in and they fall out, but well, most of them are okay actually, I guess. That one's really bad. Anyway, not a big deal there. If it was all of them, it would be, because they'd be falling all over the place. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, the French won that battle. I guess I didn't play a card. My count of cards seems to indicate I did, but I must have made some mistake somewhere. They had 5 cards originally. That means 6 cards because they had their home card, right? They played 1 last turn. So this would have been their hand right now, supposedly then. They played 1 last turn. Where's their other card that they played? What else did they do? None of this is them. They played the Holy League. None of this is them. I don't know what... So, that's 1 card down. Did they give a card up? I don't believe so. So, by my count, they have the right number of cards here. I don't know what happened to that other card. I may have put it anywhere. I can't see with all this table of stuff. But anyway, I'm throwing these because I can't figure out what's going on. And I don't know what might have happened. I checked the Spanish cards. It's not in there. It hasn't made it in here, I don't think. I don't know. It's just so damn confusing when you have this many hands to cope with. I probably make this mistake quite often in these games, where I just lose track of what I'm doing. And let's see what we've got. I guess we're going on to the Holy Roman Empire. And those cards were easy enough to play. The Empire played this commissioned from Italy, allowed them to pull an artist or scientist. They chose to take Palladio and try to get some victory points here from him. Just pulling him out of the Italian stuff because, hey, nobody's got a claim on those. Might as well. Actually, the Germans are very good at getting the Italians out of there, so that's kind of one of their big benefits. And then for the Dutch, they had this 1-point card that they played. They're not planning on being in combat anytime soon. To launch Leclerc, who's sort of a mixed... He's a Huguenot sailor. He can sail for either France or for the Protestants. He's sailing for the Protestants. Now, does this make a lot of sense? Maybe for piracy, but what if he sailed off with a colony? What would that mean? That would cause some problems. I'm not... It would really kind of disturb my feelings in the game. But anyway, having a 1-point card, I didn't have that choice, so I just sent him out. He's going to go raiding the Spaniards, I guess. Alright, that's the second time around. Now we'll keep going. Well, I was so flustered by the situation with the French, and I still don't know what's going on there. I don't know where the hell the army is or card is. There's got to be another card. I mean, I look at it, but not only did I screw them out of the big 5-point card, and there's probably another card floating around somewhere in this pile, and I've checked everywhere I can think. Well, I also screw them out of the 2 extra points they got afterwards. I've got to figure out something to give to them with that. I don't know what. Well, I used them to continue chasing the Spaniards. Now, the way the rules work for this, you can keep pursuing an enemy, and that's what I did. But they can automatically avoid battle So basically it was just an attempt to convert spaces, move my way back down, and maybe put a threat on something like Barcelona. Although, no way I have the cards to take Barcelona. I might have had them if I hadn't lost a card somewhere in there, I think, but I don't know. I can't prove that I do. I can't find the card that I played. I feel like I have to catalog all the cards and see, did I not play something? Is there something somewhere, that I'm not knowing about? Maybe it got hidden in the rule book or something. I have no idea because it makes no sense where the card could be. Maybe it slipped under the board, I just don't know. But I could not identify a card that France played, and even though when I count the cards, they should have, I don't know what kind of number it would have been. I don't know. We'll see. All right, on to the next round. Well, the Ottomans play a 3-point card, and they're going to open up with a 2-point usage of piracy against the French, of all people. Now, the French have been their friends, supposedly, but they feel like, hey, we got to try to downgrade France. Okay, so this is actually covered in the combat tables, if we can see under my book, and I don't have X-ray vision, so I cannot. But essentially, the French get 1 die, as far as I can see, for their fortress. This key doesn't count, only the actual fortress does. And they've got to get a 5 or a 6 to hit anything against those Corsairs. They do indeed, and they sink one of these Corsairs, but now that actually isn't available until next turn. It's one of the problems with naval losses. They don't go back to your pool right away unless you have the dry docks advantage in this game. Now, let's look at what, let's pull this out. I can't bother with looking up the rules to see if I understand it all correctly anyway. The pirates themselves get 1 die if 1 naval unit in the zone or 1 target player port in the zone, 2 otherwise. Well, it looks like there's only 1 port in the zone. Only Marseille. So, they only get 1 die plus 1 for Draguet. We'll see if they get any hits, and then I've got to look up what they can get off of that. They do get a hit. The attacker forces the target power to eliminate a naval unit. Random card draw, yield a piracy victory point. Okay, so now France has to pick valid choices here, so it can't take their armada. It can't take a naval unit because they don't have one there. So their choices here are give up a card, and they have few enough cards, or give the Turks a piracy victory point. The Turks mark this space. They can't go a pirating here again, and they gain 1 victory point, putting them further up on the list. This is not a terrible result for France, but it certainly is kind of nice for the Turks, although they did lose a fleet for it. All right, I still got another point. I don't know what to do. I'll come back after the end of everybody, I hope, or something. I don't know. So the Ottomans took their next move to move their fleet. They only moved these. They left these in place to maybe still do that invasion of Spain. I'm not sure what's going on there. The Spanish played Ruler Falls Ill and forced France to discard their card. I don't think they are forced to possibly to risk their French home card there, because it's drawn randomly from their hand and it looks different from the back. I remember something about that kind of rule. I don't like looking up the rules in this kind of games. It's just too much of a pain in the ass because they don't have a nice numbering system. So I just fake it and find out from you guys whether or not I did wrong. Okay, so now for the English, they're playing the John Knox card. Now Elizabeth can hold 2 cards, and she's only got 2 left, one of which is the Virgin Queen. The other one is one she really kind of wanted to play against France, the City-State Rebels. But she wants to get this pillaging and piracy in set up for next turn if possible. So she's going to play this with Hawkins. Now the Spanish were supposed to move too. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, whatever I'm doing there. It's hard to keep track of stuff in this game, especially on camera, especially first time. So now world map piracy. Spain would get a point for each patrol or fortress. Well, they don't get any dice. because I haven't built any fortresses and I didn't bother to send any patrols out there. That's a bad move. I should have sent patrols out early, but I'm involved in this war and needed to worry about it. This means that we get a base die if Sea Captain damaged or only one tile. Well, that's not very useful. Alright, I guess I'm going to have to go to the rules because this doesn't explain things well. It says base 1 die if Sea Captain damaged or only one target player, but there's no otherwise here. I think it's 2 dice otherwise. I don't want to look it up. And then he has a piracy value, so he gets 3 dice. And again, he needs 5s and 6s like everything else. He gets 1 hit. 1s don't negate things like they kind of do in the religious. And let's see. The attacker forces the target to eliminate a patrol, award a treasure, yield a victory point, or divide hits evenly among valid awards. He's going to give up a treasure. I don't know if he's allowed to look at them to choose. I got to look that up. I'll be back later. So it's indeed random, but I think the Spaniard is allowed to look at his treasures because he's allowed to hold one back if he has a fortress die roll. He didn't have a die roll. I don't know, if he's allowed to look at them, he should be able to know all of them. But I don't remember seeing anywhere else that indicated any kind of looking at them at all. I don't know. Anyway, Hawkins has 1 treasure. He's allowed to have 2. He may go raiding somewhere else. I'm going to put a little piracy flag here because he can't go there again. But if he can go and grab another treasure, then he can go home with those, and that'll be good for England. And he was expecting this rather than victory points to be given to him. All right. Now we're on to the French, I guess. Figured out the card count. France must have given a card to the Holy Roman Emperor. I don't know. Or accidentally I dumped one here, because this looks like the right card, actually. Anyway, I don't know what happened or how, but the Emperor has an extra card. Now, I know there was some deals that went on. Let's see what happened here. No, it was the Dutch that gave him an extra card. That's right. I have no fucking clue. Alright, well, I gotta let it go, but I can't because I know I've screwed up somewhere and I can't put my finger on it anyway. Okay, well, the Empire played a 2-point card and actually launched an expedition of their own. It's kind of a what the hell. Can't really do anything, but it's not terrible. He can do some piracy, he can, whatever. It might be of some value. And, well, the Dutch played on theirs with their, actually these are Huguenots, played on theirs, raiding the Portuguese of all people. They thought they had a better chance against them, risking a hit, but getting more dice on their chance. And they took something, moved here, preparing for another one if need be. They spent their extra point. They only had 1 point left. It's 2 for piracy, 1 for moving. And I don't remember what the hell they did. They did something stupid. I mean, 1 point you can't do much with in this game. It's oh yeah, they bought some political influence in Scotland. I think that carries over. If it gets reset at the end of the turn, that's just stupid. But there's nothing really they can spend their points on. But my understanding is that the only ones that get reset are the ones that were used. The points spent work otherwise, but maybe I'm mistaken. It's not worth looking up for this action. All right, we're back around for another one.